This is the Johnny's Pizza Fifth Quarter Show, brought to you by Johnny's Pizza in Loganville, your home for pizza, subs, wings. And now, here's your host, the voice of the Devils, Josh Truby.
All right, everybody, I am here live at Johnny's Pizza with my good friends, Tyler Cloud, who is the football guru himself, and Brett Fowler. Guys, what a ball game we had tonight as Loganville pulled it out there at the very end of the ball game with great plays and a wonderful stop in the end zone.
Yeah, Josh, it's you never thought the game was going to get that close. At least I didn't.
Negative.
When it was 14-0 coming out of the second half, we were driving. Unfortunately, we turned the ball over. Honestly, I just thought, hey, we're going to get a 3 and out, get the ball back, and all that type of thing. But Appalachia showed some grit, Brett. They showed some toughness, and they might be 0-16 now, but they went down fighting.
They really did, and over the last couple of years, Appalachia has always given Loganville a hard time. So when you go into a game like that, it's you can't really take them lightly.
Right. Well, you know, when they went up 22-21, all I could think of was them stopping Storm Johnson at the goal line a couple of years ago, breaking our hearts. That was 5 years ago now. I feel so old, but
Really?
yeah, yep. That's 5 years ago, and that's when Josh graduated. I know, I understand, but I was on the sideline, and you know, honestly, I thought they were gonna come in and break our hearts on homecoming, but Cody Mixon, the offense, stepped up in a big way, hit a big play to Josh Owen down the sideline.
I freaked out.
And eventually ran it in. I think that was a run-pass option, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had the option to throw that if the rush was coming on him, but they decided to drop into coverage, and Cody just tucked it and ran it and dove it into the end zone. But Cody actually threw the ball really well tonight, Brett. I thought he made some good decisions, other than the pick. Of course, he threw it right to Johnson, number one, their corner. Other than the pick, I thought Cody made some really nice decisions.
Yeah, he did. He came into this game looking a lot better and more comfortable in the pocket throwing the football than he has in the last couple games. And it was very impressive, which is, I guess that's obviously why he's our player of the game.
Sure.
Absolutely.
What impressed me, sorry, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm going to go find him. Y'all continue to discuss.
What impressed me was his throws on the run.
Yeah.
He threw the first touchdown, I think, to Jeffrey was a rollout. I think that might have been a bootleg. Is that right, Bryce? Is that a bootleg? And then I think the big play to Josh down the far sideline was a bootleg as well.
No.
So no, that might have been just a
I think
a
that was
pocket
just in
throw.
the pocket throw.
Okay. The play broke down, so it wasn't necessarily a bootleg, but he still threw it kind of semi on the run, and he also made a nice play where he pump faked. There was a move there. He pumped, and then I think he hit Josh on another one. It was kind of over the shoulder type deal, and I know Josh didn't score, but it was still a very nice throw, and really, honestly, throws I didn't know Cody was capable of making. But Brett, he stepped up in a big way tonight, and then of course you got Daryl Giles putting us on his back again. Just the big electric play, and he's one of the few players I think in the region where you think it might be 6 every time he touches the ball.
I tell you what, man, he's fast, and then in the words of the guy in the longest yard is, he fast, he real fast. He make fast people.
Unger.
He make fast people look not fast.
Unger, the longest yard was quoted.
Longest yard.
You'll only hear that here on the Giants Pizza Fifth Quarter Show.
Red Devil Radio Network.
That's
baby.
why we love Brett. That's what he brings to the table. Brett, you got some final scores for us?
Yes, sir, I do. Right across the county tonight, Monroe lost a hard-fought game to Stevens County. Stevens County, the final score was 42-34. Stevens County had actually taken a 35-7 lead at one point, and the Hurricanes they fought back and unfortunately lost that one. But by the time the final bell rang.
Right.
Oconee County took care of business with Jackson County tonight, 42-21. Gainesville beat Salem 29-6. White County 34, Madison County 27, and My friend Drew Harris was calling that one, and he said that was the craziest end to a game he has ever seen.
Up in White County, that's my
Up in
neck of the
White
woods.
County.
Up in Cleveland, the booming metropolis of Cleveland, Georgia.
Yeah, Madison County evidently was. They were taking the football, and they were just trying to run the clock out, and they were in their own territory, fumbled the ball, just trying to run the clock out. White County picks it up and scores with 10 seconds left to go.
Scoop and score?
Yeah.
A game-ending scoop and score.
Game-ending scoop and score. Drew said it was the craziest ending to a game he's ever seen.
Wow.
So, Tequila is still rocking and rolling. They beat Central Gwinnett tonight, 20-10. Heritage beat Cedar Shoals 18-13 tonight. I believe.
Wow.
North Gwinnett ended up losing to Norcross 17-10. I didn't write that down the Norcross score, but I'm pretty sure it was 17. And that was that rematch of last year's state championship game.
That's right.
And I was reading today in the Georgia High School Daily email. They said that usually the winner of the previous state championship game is the winner of that rematch the next year.
Sure.
So
sure.
as we
was
see,
probably the GPB game of the week.
I believe it was actually.
And who'd you say won that? North Gwinnett?
Norcross.
Norcross won that. Okay.
All right. Archer just demolished Berkmar 42-3. Grayson absolutely demolished South Gwinnett 42-0.
Wow.
North Oconee demolished North Hall 42-6. And Prince Avenue whipped up on Commerce 48-27. Rayburn County whipped up on Social Circle 49-21 down there in Social Circle's new stadium. Brookwood beat Shiloh 31-21. And Josh, the surprise of the week.
Yeah.
Winder 24, Flowery Branch 7.
Now, we got the score from the booth right next to us, WJBB and Winder. That's actually where I got my radio start. And he showed me that score. I was like, maybe Winder's as good as they are playing like.
Honestly, I mean, and granted, when they played Loganville was not playing their best.
They played. See, that was a combination of two things, Brett, and you're familiar with this. They played out of their minds, and we played the worst game we could have possibly
exactly.
played.
So I don't want to take too much away from Winder, but they've played some great football, and they've beat a couple of teams. And I tell you what, the new head coach that they have there is
Heath Webb.
Yeah, he was the quarterbacks coach at Peachtree Ridge.
Wow, okay.
And he has produced some good quarterbacks, and looks like he's doing a good job over there at Winder, and hopefully he can keep it going.
Yeah, don't take me as taking anything away from the win. I mean, they whipped us. But,
definitely.
I'm just saying. I think they played out of their minds, and I think we could have played a little much better.
There was a lot of things that game Loganville just they didn't have going for them, and it just kind of snowballed. The snowball effect happened.
Yep. But that wasn't tonight.
No.
Tonight, Devils win at 29-22 over the Wildcats of Appalachia, who fall to 0-16 in the last season and change. And it's like I was telling the radio guys when I left the booth, it was not for lack of effort tonight.
No, it was
those
not.
guys came back and they battled, and it would have been easy for them to just pack it in, down 14-0. Having missed 2 field goals, people forget that. If they don't miss those 2 field goals, it's a 1-point ball game. But they missed those 2 field goals, and they battled back, and they really made a game of that right there at the end.
They did, and they went for 2 right there on that last touchdown. They got to go up 22-21, and I think the biggest problem they had is they left too much time on the board after they scored that touchdown. They left 4 minutes on the board, and Loganville was able to drive down the field and put it in the end zone.
Thank God.
Yeah, it was. Going in. I watched a little bit of film on Appalachia, and their offense was spread the whole way, and they came out and they ran wishbone tonight, and they would literally come at you. Wishbone one play, and then they would go spread the next. And really, I'd never seen a team go from running the spread to the wishbone in the same offensive series. Brett, had you ever seen that before?
The only other teams I know that have done that is Loganville of old used to do that sometimes when A.J. Smith was still at quarterback, and Madison County did that a lot too.
We did do that a lot. We ran a lot of pro style stuff, and we would switch it up every now and then, but not nearly to the extent that Appalachia did tonight. I mean, they would come out with an A back and a B back in one play, and then they'd come out the next play with a 4-receiver spread going on, and that's hard to defend if you're a defensive staff. I think Coach Humphreys had the guys as prepared as you could possibly be to defend multiple offensive sets, sometimes in the same series.
Yeah.
So
the defense played pretty good tonight. I know they were a little upset on that last, towards the second half when they were giving up the touchdowns, and especially that last touchdown. Saw some guys not very happy on the sidelines. But, it's just an all-around good game for the Red Devils, and hopefully they can keep it going next week against Salem.
I thought we were at Cedar Shoals. Is
it Cedar Shoals? I thought it was. Maybe it's the next home game is Salem.
Next home game is Salem. I think we're in Athens next week. Right here with us, we got our player of the game, the quarterback.
Absolutely. Cody Mixon with, we're going to call it the play.
The play.
Where
play.
We were on the 2-yard line, I believe. And 3-4, whichever. All that matters is you got the ball in the end zone, which turned out to be the game-winning touchdown. What was going on in your mind as you're looking at the end zone saying, we've got to get in?
Well, we did a good job moving the ball downfield for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
That was awesome. In less than 4 minutes, we moved the whole field. That's a lot on the offense. So that's a good job to the offense. And just that play, there was a guy coming in motion, and so I saw the linebacker follow him across the field. And so the two outside guys were coming across. And so that we were hoping that guy would come open. But the linebacker stayed with him, so had to do something. And it worked.
And you did it. That's fantastic.
Josh, you wanted to ask what was Cody's biggest influence?
Yes. Well, another one we always ask Johnny's players of the game, getting into football, you had to have some type of influence, or getting into sports for that matter. Who was your biggest influence and why?
Well, there's a lot there. To start, it has to be my dad, because my dad almost forced me to play in middle school. And from there, just really God just took over. Like, my dad made me do it, and he had this feeling, and he told me, he was like, look, you need to play football. And my 9th grade year, again, I went to Coach Godfrey, and Coach Godfrey talked to me. He was coach then. And, again, he was like, look, we need you to play. And he told me a story about Royce Harrison, another guy. And he was like, we talked to him, too, and we got him to play. And so we want you to come play, and there's a lot of influence that you can be. So I thought that was really cool. And then just even more people, Coach England, the baseball pitching coach, talked to me. So just a lot of people telling me that I need to do it for so many different reasons, not just football, but life in general.
Very cool.
Cody, I've known you for, I've known you since you were probably 9 years old. And I just want to take a second here. I'm going to ask you some football-related questions. I just want to take a second to tell you that I'm very proud of you. Not just for tonight, but I'm very proud of the way you handled yourself through 5 games. You know, with football and baseball season, there's ups and downs. In life, there's ups and downs. And I just want to say, I want to tell you how proud I am of you that you've never changed who you are. You stayed true to yourself. You stayed true to your faith. You stayed true to your teammates. And that'll take you a long way. That'll take you a long way in life. So congratulations, not just only tonight, but as you carry through the rest of the season and you go through your junior year, right? Junior year, go through senior year. Stay true to who you are. Stay on the same path you're on, and you're going to go a long way, man.
Thank you. It means a lot.
I really believe that. Now, football-wise, your whole life, I'm sure you've heard the size knock. He can't play quarterback. He's too short. He can't see over his linemen. Whatever. You came out tonight and you made some throws that when you threw the ball, I said, there's no way. There's no way. All right, go ahead and play the next down. And you completed the ball. And it's one of those things where, what would you say it's execution that got it done? Would you say it's good protection? Some of those plays broke down. What was going through your mind on some of those throws that you knew you had to make?
It's a lot easier when there's not guys in your face.
Right.
But we have a good receiving core too.
Sure.
They go and get the ball. So I put it up there and they go get it.
That's it. You threw slants tonight. Might have been a tight end crossing pattern to Bryce. Is that what it was? When the big man took off rumbling down the field for 20 yards. Big play to open up the game. Made some couple nice throws on a couple bootlegs. I think it was not necessarily a bootleg, but a fake toss and coming out the backside. On the play to Josh, hit him down the sideline in the fourth quarter. Was that a broken down play, or was that a called rollout?
That was actually a hitch and go.
Okay.
And I just felt comfortable rolling to that side with him because the corner didn't bite up on the hitch.
Sure.
So, but I knew Josh is an athlete. The athlete that he is, I knew he could probably get by him. So I just, like I said, I let him, and he went and made a play on it.
All right, and the last one on the play, as we call it.
We'll have highlights of that, by the way.
Was that a run pass option? Depending on whether the guy cheated up and came in your face, were you going to throw it over his head at that point?
All week at practice, especially after last week with the turnovers we had, he told me, he was like, if it's not open, don't force it.
Sure.
And as you can tell, I've been forcing a lot of passes lately.
Absolutely.
So I was like, there's no way I'm forcing this one because we can't have a turnover here. So.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's I was thinking because their linebackers rolled all the way with our guys, and they were going to run them out of bounds. I mean, that was good defense. They were just going to run them straight out of bounds, and I'm thinking either throw that ball to the track or just whatever you do, please don't force it. And then I look and there's nothing but green grass in front of you. So, was that like a split-second decision? Like, okay, I can die for the end zone here.
Well, it was at the end, but when I saw the guy going in motion with our guy, when he followed the motion, I knew he was going to be right there with him. And so when he was right there with him, I decided I got to take off.
Did you have a conversation with the guys when they scored the 2-point conversion? Was there any talking going on, or did you just say, all right, we got this? Or what was the feeling in the huddle?
That was mostly coach, actually. We talked about what play we were going to run, and he made the right call. He's got it in the hands of our playmaker at receiver.
Absolutely, buddy. All right. Cody Mixon, Johnny's Pizza Player of the Game.
I'm telling you, my call will be played for a long time.
Oh, Josh freaked out.
I was marking out.
Go ahead and tell you.
When if you go back and listen to it tomorrow, you'll hear when Joshua makes the catch, my voice squeaks. And then once you run in the end zone, I'm like, what's he going to do? Oh, he's going to get in the end zone. Touchdown!
Yeah, he flipped out.
It flipped out. Yeah. I'm still trying to come down from that.
But you almost gave my boy a heart attack here, Cody. So congratulations,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for talking to us. I think they got a T-shirt for you over here.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, young man. See you next week. Is it Cedar Shoals?
I believe so, honestly.
Hey, wherever you go, we'll be there.
Exactly. One at a time. Very nice.
Enjoy this one. We'll see you next Friday night.
Thank you.
You got any homecoming plans?
I do. I'm going to homecoming.
You going with a date?
I am.
Baby.
Oh, is it the one that's with you?
No, I don't have someone with me tonight.
Oh, very nice.
It's a one-man show.
Yeah, Tyler's back in town.
Tell your brothers.
Yeah, Tyler's in town, yeah.
Tell your brothers I said hello. I met Tyler tonight. Tell Bo I didn't get a chance to say to Bo. Tell Bo hello for me.
Yeah, tell Bo I said it. We graduated together. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love Bo. Bo's my boy, so tell him I said hey. And once again, congratulations, man.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Cody Mixon, ladies and
Cody Mixon, everybody. We'll be right back after these few messages from Johnny's Pizza on the Johnny's Pizza 5th Quarter Show, live from Johnny's Pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen, after the game, join the voice of the Devils, Josh Truby, alongside Tyler Cloud at Johnny's Pizza in Loganville for the Johnny's Pizza 5th Quarter Show live.
Live, pal.
There'll be giveaways, interviews, and much more. Plus, the Johnny's Player of the Game.
How neat is that?
What? Johnny's Pizza, your home for pizza, subs, wings, and the 5th Quarter Show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Oh, man, just like that, Pump Up the Jam is right. We are live at Johnny's Pizza for the 5th Quarter Show, and it is around 11:30 on the East Coast. Oh, my goodness. What a game. Just got done talking to Cody Mixon, the player of the game. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Great individual.
It's going to be hard to shift gears from that. What an incredible young man.
Man.
Incredible family. They bleed Red Devil through and through. They bleed red. So does everyone else, but in this case, we're gonna just go with
it. Just go with it.
Okay, we're gonna bring Brett back in. Brett,
No, he's going to eat.
He's going to eat. So
Yeah.
he's got a mouthful, so we're not going to bring him
so
back in.
once
Yeah.
we get done, we're going to eat, and he's going to be able to talk to himself. How about that?
That's great. Okay, as always on the Johnny's Pizza Fifth Quarter Show, we're going to preview the upcoming college football schedule. And
eventually I'm going to create an intro for this, but right now this is what we got. Once I find it again, my Lord have mercy.
okay, I don't know what Josh is calling an audible here.
I am calling it audible. Here it is. Once it pops up here.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
So this is not a complete audible because this is what I was going into. So
exactly.
it's more like a segue.
Exactly.
Georgia honestly does not have one of the bigger games in the country tomorrow. It's Vandy. Vandy is sadly back down to being Vandy. They're 1-4.
Yep.
They're having a hard time scoring on offense. When James Franklin left, the last coach, he left the cupboard pretty bare.
Yeah.
Derek Mason's the new guy, the old defensive coordinator from Stanford. I think he's going to build him back up to respectability. But tomorrow I think the Dogs roll pretty heavily in Athens as they take on Vanderbilt at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock kickoff. That'll be on the SEC network. And I think the Dogs are going to – it's a 33.5 point spread.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to cover that, but I do think we're going to roll pretty handily. I'm actually more interested in some of the other matchups going on. You got Alabama, Ole Miss in Oxford. You got Texas A&M, Mississippi State. You got Auburn, LSU. Big day around the SEC tomorrow.
What about, I know this is not SEC football, but what about Thursday night? Arizona and Oregon.
Wow.
Arizona knocking off Oregon.
I was sitting and I was watching my brothers play last night at the JV game in Monroe. And
How did we do, by the way?
41-0. The JV rolled over Monroe.
That's what I'm talking about.
And with a certain Cloud brother anchoring the offensive line. He doesn't even realize he just got a shout out.
He really does. He's so oblivious.
That's okay. It's all right. He'll listen back to it later.
Oh,
but,
yeah. He
I was sitting there last night, and I said, I looked at my stepdad who was sitting next to me, and I said, Oregon is going to go down tonight. And I was being serious.
Yeah.
And he said, no way. No way does it happen. And it was like 1:40 in the morning when the game ended, so I couldn't text him.
Yeah.
Because he's got my baby brother sitting right next to him, and God, Lord forbid if I wake him up.
Oh,
man,
we wouldn't talk to you for a long
that
time.
would be a house full of angry people if I woke him up.
They would not be on cloud nine.
The first thing I did this morning as I texted him, I said, "Hey man, I called that upset," and it seems like that happens to Oregon at least once a year, where somebody that
one team,
somebody that maybe shouldn't beat Oregon manages to beat Oregon.
Yep.
And I don't know what
does it pull up another conversation of can Oregon win the big ones?
I don't think so. I really don't. And that's the perception right now. I mean,
they had their chance one year and lost to an SEC team named Auburn.
They did.
But that's
the way,
Auburn.
They didn't win the big one.
They did not win.
Well, that's even still.
They had their chance.
They did. They had their chance.
Blew it.
And that was the best team they've had. I mean,
exactly.
Mariota's good. But I honestly, and this may be me being from SEC country, me being a dog, he doesn't belong in the same conversation as either Amari Cooper or Todd Gurley. I think
I'll tell you right now, I'm a Gurley man. Gurley.
I think that is a two-man race for the Heisman at this point between Cooper and Gurley.
I think Gurley runs away with it, pun intended.
Well, I hope so, but if you look at Alabama, you look at Amari Cooper,
True.
That guy is absolutely ridiculous.
You have a valid point.
But let's be totally honest here. Alabama gets by without Amari Cooper. Georgia doesn't get by without Todd Gurley.
No, they don't.
Well,
that's why. If it was,
say that. No, we do have Nick Chubb.
That's why if it was an MVP award, Brett, like you use that criteria for an MVP, they don't use that criteria as much as they should with a Heisman, because
they. Hello, you there?
Yeah, I've got you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I couldn't hear myself.
Well, I got you. Trust me.
No, you're right. That is kind of an MVP kind of thing that I'm saying there. But because he is the best player in the country, he carries that team.
Right,
yeah.
Amari Cooper, yes, is great, but he doesn't carry that team.
Right.
You know? He's great, and you put him on a couple other prolific teams. If I put him with a Marcus Mariota, he's going to be just as prolific.
Sure.
If I put him with an Aaron Murray when Aaron was at Georgia.
Absolutely.
You know? to be a running back, you have to be daggum good.
One of the reasons that I didn't have a problem with Tim Tebow winning it, even though Florida went 9-4 the year he won it, is because he was obviously the best player. And I think no matter what team you're on, what record you have, no matter how good or bad your team is, if you're head and shoulders above everybody else you're on the field with, you should win the Heisman Trophy.
Agreed.
And you know, if I will second you and go by kind of the MVP theory a little bit, and that is if your team can't survive without you, and your team is good because you're on it, then that should have at least a little bit of weigh in it, because Auburn without Cam Newton is awful.
Well,
in 2010, they're not very good.
This is just my personal opinion, but as far as the Heisman
It's an opinion
goes,
show.
It is an opinion show. But as far as the Heisman goes, I think if you are a running back or even a quarterback, you don't. Quarterbacks, yes, can have somebody else make them look better if they have an Amari Cooper.
Right. Sure.
But the same thing is true on the other side of the ball. Amari Cooper can look better because he's got a good quarterback around him. You know,
Absolutely, yeah.
No matter what you think of Blake Sims, he did break a passing record last week.
He did, and he's running away with that starting
Exactly.
job.
So, you know, Amari Cooper is not 100% Amari Cooper without a good quarterback behind him.
Sure.
Todd Gurley can be 100% Todd Gurley
It
without a
doesn't matter
good
how
quarterback.
good the
Which
quarterback
had
is.
catches from, I'm telling you, he had receptions.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't have
I called
receptions.
that last week. He had some receptions
He did. He
from
sure
the
did.
backfield.
But you also said Tennessee by a touchdown.
Well,
And
yeah.
Brett, you came the closest on the score prediction.
Wow.
Because I was sitting there.
did.
I was sitting there in the stadium, and I called 35-24. And when it was 35-25, I was
Ecstatic.
when it was 35-23, and they were going for two. I was like, you
Why couldn't you just go for a field goal?
just kick the extra point, so I'll be right. But I would have been wrong anyway. Brett, you said 38-31.
I think it said 38-31. And
You
it
can
was
go back and re-listen to the podcast, and,
and
we'll
it's
figure it out.
30,
I'm pretty sure it was 38-31.
35-32, so you were actually really close.
And I do
Yeah.
believe I sent y'all a text message later that day.
Actually,
bragging.
you did.
You did. That
Actually,
you
you
did.
did.
That you did.
And I wanted to give you a little bit of shout out for that because that was
Yeah,
good
I
work.
appreciate it there, Tyler.
That
yeah,
was
very
good work.
nice. I even told my dad when you sent me the text message, it's like, really? He's like, what? I said, one of the guys that actually called the score was almost right. My dad goes, how bad? I was like, well,
So,
his was 38-31. The final score is 38-35.
Brett, we're about to find out how good you really are. Because there's some I don't know if you heard me talking about this earlier. You were in food land. But
I'm still in food land.
I understand that, but you're focusing on me now a little
We're
bit
about
more
we're
than you
about to
were.
be in food land.
There are some good
Once the show
matchups.
ends.
There are some good matchups in the Southeastern Conference tomorrow. And even if you don't know who's playing necessarily, I'll give you the teams. Starts off, you got Texas A&M and Mississippi State. I personally like Texas A&M in that one.
Kenny football. Kenny football.
Think they got a little bit more firepower.
Who are they playing again?
Texas A&M and Mississippi State, 6 against 12. I like Texas A&M. I don't think they're going to score as many points.
Who's at home?
I don't remember. I think that one's in Texas. I could be wrong.
If it's in Texas,
If it's in Texas, I'm taking the Aggies.
It might. It
that
might
12th
be.
man's going to be really loud.
It might be in cowbell country. Look that up real quick, Josh.
I will.
Look, just go to ESPN and see where that game is because I think that's going to have a big impact as it always does in the SEC.
Let's see if I can find it on the Score Center.
Josh is looking it up for us on Score Center.
There
and
it
he's-
is.
and he's gonna show us where the game.
It was actually it's in Mississippi.
It is in cowbell country. So Brett, does that change your projection at all?
No, not really.
You still think A&M's gonna? Are you think they're gonna roll?
Maybe not as much as if they were playing in Texas.
Because you remember they played in Dallas, Texas, and struggled mightily with Arkansas,
That's also Arkansas, though.
which I think will be a
Now they
major.
did go to South Carolina and beat the brakes off
that
South
will be
Carolina.
hold on though, Arkansas will be a major trap game for Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Going to Little Rock, that's going to be a major trap game that I think nobody's really looking at. Everybody's looking at Missouri, whatever. You know, better look out for Arkansas.
I think Arkansas is better than Missouri, and Arkansas is way better than South Carolina.
So you think A&M? You say A&M wins?
A&M wins. I don't want to give a score out because I hadn't paid enough attention
That's
to the
okay.
Aggies this
I mean,
year.
no, we're just picking teams.
Yeah.
We're just picking teams.
Okay.
I'm saying a 14-point spread, Aggies.
Okay.
As it stands right now, this is game going on right now. Brigham Young on top of Utah State, 14-7 in the second quarter with 5:44 left to go.
Is BYU ranked? BYU is
18th.
ranked, aren't they? Okay, 18. Josh, who do you think wins? You got A&M or you got Mississippi State?
I'm going to go A&M just because I like what I've seen against South Carolina in South Carolina.
All right, guys. I'm going upset city. I think the other Bulldogs, because they're in cowbell country.
They've got 2 G's or 1?
They've got 1.
1? Okay.
They're not like Winder. They're not weird. They don't put
Check
2
it.
G's in there.
Just
I'm
making
saying-
sure.
They don't put 2 G's in there because they're not double gooder.
They're not the double G Bulldoggers.
The fighting Dan Mullins.
Yeah.
Get it done in Starkville tomorrow. Stark Vegas tomorrow and pull the upset. The other one, Brett, Battle of the Tigers. LSU Auburn. Both teams call their stadiums Death Valley, even though I only believe there's one Death Valley, and that's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But, Josh, see where that game is for us. I'm not sure where that game
LSU?
is. Yes, LSU Auburn.
It is in Auburn, Alabama.
It's in Auburn, Alabama. Okay, Brett, who you like?
I think Toomer's Corner's getting rolled tomorrow night.
You think it's going to get raw? I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I don't like LSU's defense. Dak Prescott went wild on them last week in their own stadium. I think this one has the potential to get ugly in favor of Auburn. LSU changed quarterbacks this week from Anthony Jennings to Brandon Harris, so they're going to be starting a new quarterback on the road. Top 5 team. I think Auburn. It has the potential to be a high-scoring game. Auburn's not very good on defense. Neither is LSU. I think Auburn wins a high-scoring game in Auburn tomorrow. Toomer's Corner gets rolled.
You know why I say Auburn wins?
Why?
My X factor is Gus Malzahn, to be totally honest with you.
Yep.
Okay.
That man is an offensive genius.
As much as I want LSU to win because it helps Georgia, I'd have to agree with you guys and go with Auburn.
I think Nick Marshall's going to steal a win. If you're a Georgia fan, you understand the significance of that joke.
Another big SEC matchup. Third-ranked Alabama goes to Mississippi. The 11th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels.
Yes.
Who wins? Tyler?
I've got it close into the fourth quarter. And I think Bo Wallace makes a costly mistake. Brett. I think Bo Wallace tries to be a gunslinger, makes a costly mistake late in the ball game, turns the ball over. I think Alabama capitalizes as they always seem to do. That's what makes Alabama great, is they'll capitalize on your mistakes. I think it's a close one going into the final 15 minutes. I think Alabama pulls away.
I think it's going to be a lot like the Alabama-Florida game. They kept it close majority of the game.
Right.
And then Alabama decided they wanted to run the football.
Then the second half
and
happened.
they said bye.
And that was due to defense too. That Florida kept it close. I mean, they had a scoop and score.
Yeah.
They had another couple fumble recovery. Alabama did not play like Alabama, turning the ball over.
But when Nick Saban says, "Okay, let's hunker down," well, to use the Georgia reference,
just use
Right.
it. It's
When-
fine.
Right.
when he says, "Okay, let's hunker down and run the daggone football," then
Right.
Yeah.
there's no stopping.
Sure.
Because their offensive line is going to overpower pretty much anybody they play.
Right.
And Lord knows, Kim Dichie's cool. You know,
The brothers.
The
To
brothers
both
are
Kim
good and all,
Dichie.
but Robert is going to get blown up on that line tomorrow. I'm sorry,
I
but he
think so.
is.
I actually am. I've actually called the upset all week. I'm going Ole Miss.
But I will say, I've been to Ole Miss. The Grove is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, the Grove is awesome.
The females are unbelievable. Because
but they ain't nothing like in Georgia.
they give them a run for their money, brother.
Stop it,
I'm
Josh.
The Grove is pretty cool. I'm not
It
gonna
is.
lie.
It is. I like Hugh Freeze. Nick Saban's Nick Saban. Watch out if Ole Miss gets some big plays early in that game tomorrow. If you let those guys believe for a second that they can win,
They're going to win.
Alabama's in trouble.
Yep.
If there's a, I think Ole Miss is really underrated. If there's an underrated team that could take down the Giant,
Yeah.
it's going to be Ole Miss.
Now, if this was in Tuscaloosa,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
if it was
yeah.
Tuscaloosa,
No
there's
doubt.
question.
No
I
doubt.
would say there's no doubt Alabama can run away with it. But if you let Ole Miss make some plays and let them start believing, it could get really interesting. the best bet for Alabama, and this could be for any team, of course, is to put your foot on their throat early and never let them believe. Take the crowd out of the game early. You're going to see a lot of T.J. Yeldon. You're going to see a lot of Derrick Henry. You're going to see a lot of Amari Cooper. They're going to get Amari Cooper the ball, and they're going to try to. Again, Brett, I like what you said. They're going to try to take Robert Kimdichie, that defensive line, out of the ballgame.
Yeah, and for Ole Miss, the best thing they have going for them is when you play a giant like that, you don't have the target on your back. What do you have to lose?
Right, nothing.
Yep.
You lost to the number 1 team. Cool.
Right, they're going. Hey, I wouldn't doubt that they're going to. We may see some gadget plays, some fake punts, which we haven't talked about. Appalachia pulled one of those out of their hat tonight
and capitalized on it.
You might see some fake punts, fake field goals, gadget plays, but again, I think Alabama pulls away. Too much talent, too much depth. Their lines of scrimmage are way too good.
And they have that guy that's the head coach.
Nick Saban.
Yeah, that guy.
One more in the SEC that I think is of significance, even though neither team is ranked. It's always a good rivalry, whether the teams are terrible or not. Tennessee, Florida. From Knoxville tomorrow at noon. I think if Will Muschamp loses this game in a blowout fashion, I think he might be done.
So are you calling Tennessee the winner or not?
I think Tennessee's going to win the ball game.
Okay.
I really do. I think
I'll actually second you on that.
I think it'll be close. But if those kids quit on Muschamp, which I don't think they will, but if they do, and Tennessee rolls in Knox Vegas tomorrow, then Will Muschamp, his seat's not hot anymore. It's just about burnt.
Hand the ball to Jalen Hurd. Let him run in for touchdowns. Tennessee wins the football game.
Yeah, Jalen Hurd's a man, and Florida.
And is Worley back? Is his elbow okay after playing Georgia?
He is. He came back in and finished the ball game.
Okay. I didn't know if there were any other implications after the game.
I thought it was his shoulder. Jordan Jenkins hit him really hard.
He took it. He took a helmet right to the inside of the elbow.
He did. Jordan Jenkins hit him really hard on that play. I think he's going to have a brace on it, like he did for the remainder of our game. I think Tennessee wins tomorrow, and I think puts Florida even further behind the 8 ball. I just don't. I don't like where Will Muschamp has them headed at all.
I'm surprised Will Muschamp made it this year.
And I will say this: this is going away from the SEC, but it could have implications on the SEC. Brady Hoke at Michigan. If he is fired, watch out for Butch Jones to Michigan.
Really?
Butch Jones, when he coached at Central Michigan, said, "I'm a native of Michigan, and it's a good thing that I'm coaching at Central Michigan, but I really want to be coaching the Big Blue." He said that in a press conference. That's his dream job. If Brady Hoke is fired, I'm saying it right now, watch out for either Jim Harbaugh or Butch Jones to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
All right.
Very nice.
I
just said very nice. I'm an Ohio State guy. I couldn't care less about Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know. That's that double-edged sword. As just a college football fan,
right?
I would hate to see him leave Tennessee with what he's got going on there.
Absolutely, yeah.
As an SEC and a Georgia fan, more power
Get
to
out.
you. Leave. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Let's have Derek Dooley back at Tennessee, please.
Because
or Lane Kiffin.
Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. If he leaves, I might set Tennessee back another 3 years or so.
I think so too. Because honestly, with the way they're going right now,
they're going to be definite contenders.
Definitely.
Now, I just want to tell the live listeners and anybody that may. This is nothing but speculation on my part. Nothing has been reported. Nothing has been put out there. I think if the offer was presented to him, he would at least take a long, hard look.
Oh, I'm sure he'd even apply for the job.
Yes. And the game of the week.
Yes, 13th ranked Georgia taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. And Brett, as we alluded to earlier, Vanderbilt's having some real trouble scoring the ball this year. Their starting quarterback, Patton Robinette, got injured against South Carolina. Starting their backup, Wade Freebeck, tomorrow in Athens in front of 92,000 people. I think the Dogs, this could get ugly. This could be Troy-esque.
Don't you usually schedule somebody easy for your homecoming game?
Yes.
Okay,
they did a good job.
That's all you need to know for this week.
Vanderbilt comes into the game 1-4. Georgia 3-1. Georgia 33.5 point favorite, and that's pretty much self-explanatory.
But I will say, The reason I was worried tonight, okay, is 2006.
Oh, goodness.
Matthew Stafford's first start between the hedges. It was homecoming. Vanderbilt 24, Georgia 22. So they shocked us.
That they did.
As part of the Fowler family's leaving the building.
We're giving them the Red Devil salute.
And they shocked us at homecoming.
They did.
I know that was a number of years ago, but the reason I
Even
bring
still.
it up is to say it can happen.
Yep.
It did happen.
Yep.
And you've got to come to play. Even still, I think the Dogs with the Heisman contender Todd Gurley, he's going to run the ball early and often. We'll probably sit him if it gets out of hand. Hudson Mason, I think, is going to let it rip a little bit more tomorrow. He's going to play a little bit more relaxed. Malcolm Mitchell, Justin Scott Wesley coming back off injury. Don't know how much you'll see him in the first game back. Of course, there's probably some fatigue there. But I think you'll see us take more shots down the field with those guys being back than we have in the first 4 games. What do you think, Brett?
I totally agree. One thing I saw earlier this week was there was some speculation on whether Rick would go with a 2-quarterback system.
Right.
With the way Mason has played. And
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the first half of the game tomorrow, I think obviously Hudson Mason.
Yeah.
Totally third, just to give him a chance with Justin Scott Wesley and Michael Mitchell.
Bryce Ramsey came in. I'm sorry. Were you going to continue?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, give him a chance with the good receivers. Obviously, I'm figuring for sure we'll see Ramsey tomorrow, but depending on how Hudson plays with those 2 receivers in there against, let's just be totally honest here, they're not that great of a defense at Vanderbilt.
Negative.
So if he can't get, play that well against that bad of a defense with 2 good receivers, I think we see a 2-quarterback system more for the rest of the year and let Ramsey get some more experience.
Because he's not opposed to it. He'll do it. David Green, DJ Shockley. Yep. It worked pretty well. So I don't like it, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with it. And he's the guy that gets paid $3.5–4 million a year.
Yeah.
So Tyler Cloud, who'd you pick?
My pick is the Dogs, 42-3.
Good God.
Yep.
Mr. Fowler?
I'm actually gonna. You said 42-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make them seem that bad. I'm gonna give them 42-14.
Okay.
I'm saying Dogs roll and Vandy does not get on the scoreboard.
I'm saying the only reason I'm giving them 14 is because of the way that secondary has been beleaguered throughout this entire year.
Yeah. I still don't think Vandy gets on the scoreboard.
Really? I think they at least get 2 mercy touchdowns.
Nope.
At least in the third, fourth quarter.
I think
Okay,
it may be-
now you do that, then yes. However, I think they don't score.
I think it's going to be one of those cases, honestly, where Vandy may go down the field on the first drive, get a field goal, and everybody's talking about, oh my gosh, our defense is down, and then they don't score the rest of the game.
We'll see. We'll have to find out tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
4 o'clock on the SEC Network. Georgia plays host to the visiting Commodores. As we just got done with homecoming at Loganville, it's going to be homecoming at Sanford Stadium tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
That is your SEC breakdown and the SEC game of the week. As always, that is Georgia. As well, why not?
Hey, we got a whole bunch of time. We're sitting here, about to eat. Why not talk about the Dogs?
Exactly. Speaking of about to eat, I think it's about time to get off here and grab a bite to eat.
It is about time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so glad you joined us for the Johnny's Pizza 5th Quarter Show. Join us again in a couple of weeks as we come to you live. I think the next home game is in 2 weeks against Salem. We will be on the road next week against Cedar Shoals, I believe, which means no Johnny's Pizza 5th Quarter Show. But we will be back here live again in 2 weeks, right here from Johnny's Pizza in Loganville. Myself, Josh, and Brett will be with you as the Devils take on Salem. Devils tonight on homecoming, 29-22 winners. Thank you again for joining us. Good night from Johnny's Pizza in Loganville.
Good night, everybody.
Night.